what comes down. But before we get into that, have another interview from a lovely person from the RNA. I am joined by Shaun right now up here on stage. It's not really a boost. I think it's more of like a casting table, casting desk.
Correct. Yeah, it's like a little platform that we get to watch it all on.
Exactly. I mean, best seats in the house, realistically. We can sort of see everyone from behind the scenes. But Shaun, thank you so much for joining me.
No, thank you so much for having us. And what a great, all of our team have just been sitting here. We've never been so enthralled in a competition before, but it's so great to see it. And, you know, look at Forest Lake College. They just nailed that last round. So
exactly. I kind of hinted at it before how, like, it's a bit you would think the city schools might struggle a little bit, perhaps coming into a farming event, which would be regional favored, but Forest Lakes, each and every time they go out there, they're just looking more and more natural at it.
Well, we were talking to their teacher before, and they did go and do their homework last night, and that clearly showed. So we can't wait for the grand final later on and see which school takes out the top winning prize.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I mean, Forest Lake, they're going to be a tough one to beat. TSS versus Somerset will be our sort of regional finals as it is when they go at it. But I suppose, you know, part of the RNA and sort of overseeing sort of all of these events in the past, this one just feels so unique and so different, I have to imagine, for someone in your perspective.
Yeah, well, I look after the youth and agricultural section, so that's downstairs, and that's the big fruit displays that kids build. So we see it's very physical, very manual labour. So to see the kids do this sort of stuff, I think it's just the ECA expanding their horizons and reaching a brand new audience, and just spreading that word of where all of our agriculture comes from. So it's fantastic.
So I guess going from that, I'm not saying that this is going to happen. I'm not saying that this event exists. I don't believe they've programmed it in yet. But if one of these teams in this third and final game were to start, instead of stacking and scoring points with the hay bales, start to make, I suppose, a sculpture or a panorama of hay bales, would that be, something you'd be a bit more interested in?
It's funny you say that, because we were actually talking, we think this should be back every year. We love it. Like, we've been so enthralled. So, yeah, I'd love to see it turn into fruit stacking if possible. But, look, even just watching the kids get involved and to see how things happen on farm life is fantastic. And we were chatting before, and hopefully we can see it back at every ECA moving forward.
I mean, that would be absolutely amazing. I mean, just looking at the stage, and again, looking at, I suppose, the students themselves, the teachers, the parent involvement as well, and sort of encouraging these events. I feel like these are all sort of growing aspects that, like, the ECA likes to sort of encompassate in and of itself.
Yeah, and look, the ECA's messaging each year is to try and get as many people involved in, I guess, the agricultural messaging that the show has to offer. And I think this is a perfect way of bringing them in, whether it's through the teachers, the schools, or the parents. It's a fantastic way to let young people know, I guess, where, food that they eat every day comes from. So.
And especially because of the nature of esports as well, like being able to actually, for this event in particular, actually bring out some of those further out regional schools and actually bring them into the ECA itself. And like, yes, it is a digital ECA, something very unique, something very different. I'm sure you've had your own challenges with that one this year, but still being able to see those regional schools actually coming forward, that must be something special.
Yeah, look, we love it. And every year we try and bring some kids down, but we realize it's not financially feasible. So this is a perfect way for someone in Mount Isa or someone in far north Cape York to be involved in the ECA, a way they've never been able to before. So it's a great way to get more and more kids involved with Queensland's largest cultural exhibition each year.
And you can even think of like situations in the future as well, where like even if schools might not necessarily be able to make the trip down from Mount Isa to Brisbane for the ECA, because it is something that can be done online, there are sort of ways to even almost broaden the ECA across the entirety of Queensland.
Oh, look, I'd love to see this spread right across Queensland, and Queensland host it for Australia. We're hosting every other sport at the moment, so why not the esports competition as well? So
absolutely. I think that would be phenomenal to see in the future. That said, it does look like our players are kind of jumping, eager to get back into that third game. So thank you so much for joining me, Shaun. Now, before I send you off, though, any words of encouragement you might want to throw to either of these teams?
Oh, look, just take your time and, let the best players win.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, technically, I think Forest Lake has already won, but
look, I'm fingers crossed Earnshaw might come through, but look, Forest Lake have done their homework, and we'll be rooting for whoever's winning.
You know what? If Earnshaw can come back in a best-of-3, down 2 games to 0, I think that would be something. That would be something unseen before.
An amazing challenge.
An amazing challenge indeed. Well, thank you so much for joining me up here on stage as we are moving on to game number 3.